Well, thank you, Aisha. Thank you for joining this call. It's really a pleasure to have this call with you. I would like to discuss today, and I would like to spend this time with you to understand a little bit what are the key challenges, what are the key aspects of the education and the edutech markets and its relations with the metaverse. So I would like immediately to start by asking you how the education sector can benefit from the metaverse.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, that's a really good question. Why? Because everyone is talking from about metaverse from the perspective of fashion, brands, and just networking. But I think education should be the focus, and it's definitely going to be changing for the education. Why? One word, interdisciplinary. Interdisciplinary education hasn't been talked much about in the real world, but having the Web3 around, I feel now it just bridges everything together. So Web3 allows you, a scientist, to be communicating very feasibly with an artist, a content creator, with not just like engineers, but people who are in the traditional businesses. So I know people who are in fashion, but they would love to collaborate with people who are in environment sciences. So that can happen now in metaverse, and by that, metaverse, we all know metaverse is there. We know about the games, we know about the films that are being done, but from the educational point of view, no one has ever thought. So yeah, that is one area which is going to definitely dynamically shift, from the metaverse and the Web3 point of view.
Thank you. And this is very, very interesting because I know you're also an expert from different angles in the field of metaverse. You're an artist, a digital artist. You're also into NFTs. You are also into fashion tech. So I would love to have more conversations with you, maybe on a weekly basis, just to go through all of them. It will be a privilege for me. But let me also ask you another question. So what are the key challenges based on your experience and your perspective with regards to this shift? So any education company or education tech company who is willing to shift to the metaverse, what are the requirements and what is the best way to do that?
Okay, so there's a long way and there's a short way, but it really depends on one, the team, how feasible, how adaptable they are. I think it's about the mindset. You have to think about constant growth, constant renewing the ways everything around us is changing. It's just that there are some people who are early adopters, but it's not that hard as much as people think, and it's not just a hype anymore. So NFTs and whatever is associated with blockchain technology is not a hype anymore. It's very much real, and it's going to stay. So every business needs to at least think about the next 10 years and how their business, whatever they're doing, stays relevant. And the only way they do that, I mean, it's through thinking about the change, the global change that is going to affect everyone, right? And personally speaking, from my own artistic side, but then now as a business woman, because I'm into entrepreneurship as well, I've seen the ways changing, the traditional art shifting to digital art, and many traditional artists who were first not convinced, now they are, because everything is digitized, right? So we made that shift. It's just about time that every single brand is going to have its brand identity associated primarily in metaverse, and then everything else, the physical world, is like a substitute. It kind of helps you, but the main thing, the main identity, the network, the interoperable universe, that we're kind of building together, stays as an illusion. So that's my take. That's what I think.
That's very interesting. That's very interesting. And what about instead the business opportunities that the markets offer currently? And I would like to ask you if I would like to create any startup, or if you would provide any suggestion to any founder in this field, in the metaverse field, in the education sector, what would be the top 3 tips that you would provide with?
Yeah, so the tips are simple. Tips are to think outside the box, but in an interdisciplinary way. Think about people who are in traditional fields, but they don't know how to bring their skills in. So if you can do that, you have a huge community. Again, that links perfectly with the education. If you start educating people, what is the meaning of Web3? I think that just opens so many doors. So any content creator, any artist who is already using, is familiar with Zoom, or who's familiar with LinkedIn, any platform that you're comfortable with, start there, speak about it, bring in people, and first create a network, create a small community, right? So once you've created a successful community, uh, while you're educating, while you're producing content that's reasonable, that's educational, you can then pitch ideas. And trust me, there's always people who kind of resonates to your thoughts. Yes, there are people who don't kind of get that in the start. We always have those. But yeah, that's the second thing. So community building is the second thing. And the third thing is to constantly voice your opinion out, because what you see happening in the Web3, not sure about other businesses, but what you see happening here is all these people, they voice it out. They make sure that three other people who are in Web3 in different other areas, they know about what you're doing. And that's the beauty of blockchain, right? So if there's no transparency, there's no ownership, then what's the point of this new Web 3.0 anyway? It's about the content creators, the actual creatives, to be taking the ownership, to be making things transparent for not just themselves but for their entire business structure. So that's what I feel are the three basic things. But then also, what's going to drive all three of them is your mindset, is constantly growing. Because just because people are hearing these things that, oh, NFTs is now a scam, oh, today Discord isn't a good thing, I think everyone should be doing their own research and seeing, from their point of view, their strategy, their vision, where everything fits together. It's not just about what you're hearing from one person and what one person defines blockchain to be. So that's the way you define your own path in this business world of Web3.
Yeah, and I totally agree, especially when you mentioned one important thing that's really captured my attention is not hype anymore. And I totally agree, because now it seems that the Web3 and metaverse ecosystem is divided in a bipolar way between those who say, okay, this is the future, and those who say, no, no, this is just a scam, this is just hype, this is just playful things, or just selling for millions an image of a monkey with the cigarettes. So it's not only, I don't think it's only that. In this, I totally agree with you. With regards the last question, I also know you are an entrepreneur, a brilliant entrepreneur, international entrepreneur, and well-respected, well-known. And I would like to ask you, what is your contribution in the entrepreneurial world, and where are you active currently?
Yeah. So in terms of my own current activities, one is the project with Meta Visionaries, a team of international collaborators, change makers coming together from different fields. I think that's the most exciting part for me as a co-founder, and currently working as a creative director for an NFT collection again, although there's no hype, but NFT collection that is going to bring you the access to a lot of educational content that we're producing for the metaverse. So there's interest in space that I personally always had. There's interest in art, 3D art, and the wide scope of the 3D art itself. We can experiment so much there. So that is something that I'm doing, constantly learning about new technologies to integrate in my own art practice, and then utilizing that to produce NFTs. Star Launch NFTs is going to be here soon. In fact, the next week or something. So it's going to be here by the end of June. And that NFT collection is like an access point to be having a lot of utilities for the future. And the idea behind Meta Visionaries is not to create NFTs for the sake of artworks. Like, it's not a PFP project. It's not a proof of picture project. It's a project where we're promoting the idea of keeping the NFTs with you, because it provides you with the long-term benefits. That is the network with these people, very interesting people, because they are into space sciences, engineering. For me, that's very interesting, coming up with this community, which is so good at what they do, like music production, these kind of things. But at the same time, enjoying the art that comes with it, and enjoying the metaverse that we're building. Like there's a bunch of things that we're building in metaverse. So those are like some of the access points that we're thinking about in terms of the sustainability and for the environment.